Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. Thanks for logging on to this latest forecast update, sponsored tonight by Metal Magic in Washington. Give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless tint repair needs, and then, of course, be sure to tell them Southern Indiana Weather sent you. All right, it is just shy of 8 o'clock here in the evening. Folks have been going over the latest model data, tweaking the forecast up a little bit, and, if you're a snow lover, I know you're going to be bummed a little bit by tonight, but there's also some cause for hope. So, and I suppose if you're a snow hater, I've got some of that, to give you as well. We'll get into that here in just a second. Radar here into motion. You can see some of those light snow showers still in the area. They're pretty much starting to wind down just a little bit, so don't expect a whole lot of activity tonight. Those will slowly wind down as we move out through the rest of the evening. Now, this is where the forecast ends up starting to get just a little bit tricky from here. Of course, I've had snow in the forecast for this weekend, or the chance of snow in the forecast. I have actually removed it from the forecast now. So if you're a snow lover, folks, I'm sorry. If you're a snow hater, I know you're rejoicing. The bottom line is the data just doesn't support it. And, the past 2 days, as I've been saying, the past 2 days, the data has been trending further south with this. Well, now the system is on shore and we can finally sample it, and we can say with pretty good certainty that it looks like it's going to the south. We put the surface map here into motion, and you can see there that storm system is going down to our south. It's going to ride pretty much the Gulf Coast. And as you can see, here we are on a Saturday morning and then Saturday afternoon, and we have precipitation here free in the area, and it is moving offshore by the time Saturday evening comes. So it looks like I think we're probably going to go to around 40 or the low 40s on Saturday. So it's not going to be a tremendously bitter cold day by any means. And any precipitation that did make it more north, I do think could stand the chance of being a snow shower, given the cold atmosphere above us. But it's going to have a hard time getting the precipitation this far north, just to be quite honest with you, given how far south this system is. Now, this is not our only system in the works. If you've been following me for several days now, folks, I've been talking about multiple systems in the work. Let me just show you what the modeling is giving at us here. As I go through this, folks, I don't want us to focus exactly on specific days because, to be completely honest with you, every single model run, the days vary on when these are going to come. Right now, the models are just not handling these things well, and really there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, we're in sort of a transitional phase. We've been pretty mild, but we are going into a cold pattern, which we'll talk about temperatures here in a minute. We're going into a cold pattern, and we've been in that relatively mild pattern. Models are notoriously bad whenever you're in that transitionary phase. And the second thing is we just have the number of storms. So whenever you go through this and you see a storm after storm after storm line up upon each other, what you have to understand is the storms that follow a storm, well, they're dependent upon each other. So if it's going to be in that particular way, it's going to have to depend on the storm before it doing exactly what the model said it would do, and then it doesn't, so then it throws everything else off. So the more storms that you have show up in a model run, the greater chance you have of of the chaos theory taking hold, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. And so expect lots of changes in the modeling over the coming days. Let me just give you that disclaimer, but let's look at the pattern at hand. All right, so there's that system that moves through on Saturday. Notice what we've got here. We've got a little Alberta Clipper system starting to move down. What you'll also notice here is another system starting to ramp up, and let me put this into motion. You'll start to be able to see those things. There's some precipitation down to the south starting to form in. There, that Clipper system starts to come into our south. Notice down here off of get this here for you, a low pressure starting to form down here off of the southern branch of the jet stream. You've got this Alberta Clipper diving in off of it, and as we continue to put this in motion again, what you see is these two are starting to phase together a little bit. A new low pressure is going to start to be spawned down here, and watch this, all of a sudden you've got dueling low pressures here. And so where exactly they phase together and start to strengthen, that's going to determine the depth of this system. But what you notice notice as I just sort of put it back in time a little bit. Watch this happen again. The blue line, remember the first blue line here, the 540 line, that is the rain snow changeover line typically. So it'll start out as rain. This is for Monday, 7 p.m. So we're starting out with a little bit of light showers moving into the area. Sometime on Tuesday, the rain snow line is going to move through the area. Now this has it about 7 p.m. on Tuesday in this particular model run. It's going to vary in time between the last model run and this model run and the next model run. If I showed you the Euro, it's going to vary in time as well. All right, as I put this into motion though, the next time frame we got here, 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve. All right, notice that blue line is past us. It's starting to change over to an all snow type of setup. Moisture's starting to dry up a little bit, so it doesn't look like a heavy accumulation in this particular model run at this point, but you notice a very strong low deepening up here. And notice as we put this into motion, continuing on, how deep these isobars, how close they are together. That deepening low is going to put a real heck of a wind maker out of this, and that could be the big story with this, would be 10 to 20 mile per hour or more sustained winds for 2 or 3 days next week. But you can see we are well past this into snow territory, and we've got light precipitation still going on here on Wednesday. It started on Tuesday night. Here we are still into Wednesday, and it's still going on here even into the overnight hours into Christmas Day. So really just sort of a snow showery cold setup is the way things are looking for me at this point for Christmas Eve, with a good deal of wind as well. And then notice what's happening with this. We get into Christmas Day at 7 a.m. That system is starting to move out, but notice this next clipper system started up in here. It's starting to dive down, but then watch this. It starts to deepen. By the time we go into the overnight hours Christmas night, you start to see some precipitation moving here. This is the day after Christmas, 7 a.m. Notice there we go very quickly. This is a very fast moving system. Again, a very windy system because the deepening low pressure, and again, you've got these isobars close together. Very windy kind of a setup, and you've got a snow shower kind of setup again. So, you know, how many inches could we get out of this? It's way too early to talk about the number of inches that we could end up with, folks, with any specific details. What I would say is if this model run verified, wouldn't be a whole lot of inches with this, but what it would be is steady off, sort of off and on snow showers, maybe even steady snow showers at times. And of course, if you get that when it's cold, they will accumulate. So, you know, a couple, 3, maybe even more inches over a few day period here. Not out of the question with this kind of setup, but nothing's a guarantee yet. The pattern is set up to be cold and consistently snowy next week if this thing verifies. Then after that, you notice a high pressure starts to move in. It takes control of the area, so this would be a week from this Saturday. This would be the 27th at about 1 in the afternoon, but then this goes off, and there you've got more snow, light snow moving in. That wave moves out, and then by the time New Year's Eve comes, here's the 31st, during the overnight hours, you've got this next system that's starting to dive south. It doesn't look like it's going to affect us at this point that night potentially, but by the time New Year's Day comes in, this particular model is bringing some potentially a pretty deep low pressure system. This would likely be a cold rain to start with before going over to a snow kind of a setup here. So again, folks, what you see here is a pattern evolving that is turning into a very active pattern. It's turning into be a cold pattern, and it's turning into be a snow pattern. I don't see anything in here that would give us, you know, an overwhelming amount foot of snow at one time, but I do see a lot of light snow showers, and of course that could make for a long week by far. Just real quickly, let me show you the European model. That was a GFS as well. Just let me show you this. This is what the European model's idea is for the day after Christmas, and you can see it is consistently heavier. In fact, this would be a decently accumulating snow if the European model has this right. So while the GFS doesn't have much accumulation, the European does. But a word of caution here, folks, the European model lately has been showing heavy snows, and then once it gets closer to the event, just sort of petering them out into next to nothing. So take this with a grain of salt. The potential is there, but we'll take it with a grain of salt. Now, I will say this, the potential for a big one could be there in the modeling. Let me just show you the indices to show you why. First off, two main indices that we're going to take a look at, the Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation. Those are the two big ones that we're going to talk about tonight. The AO, of course, the negative AO means cold air is on the move down from Canada towards us, and watch exactly what happens. Anything below this middle line here goes into the negative territory, and that means cold air is starting to filter down in from Canada. Goes strongly negative next week. It goes briefly positive here as we kind of have a little bit of a tiny warm up this weekend, maybe into the 40s, but then by the time next week comes and we're looking at very cold temperatures, look at this, how far it tanks. This is from the European model, the GFS model, even further in the tank on the Arctic Oscillation. So the cold air is going to be available eventually. It's coming, folks. This system right now is not available for us, but with some of these systems next week, yes, it will be available. All right. Now let's talk about the North Atlantic Oscillation. When you have a negative NAO, what you have is essentially a blocking pattern in the North Atlantic, and with a strongly negative NAO, basically it's a blocking high pressure off the coast of Greenland that sort of shuts the North Atlantic down. It doesn't allow low pressures to move very fast across the United States, and what it sort of does is shut them down. It closes. It says, well, you know what, North Atlantic, we are closed for business, and low pressure, you're going to have to go up and over us, and so they slow down. They start to take a northward jog, and they have to go up into Canada if they want to go anywhere and around that blocking high pressure system. These have the strongest potential to bring us snows and even accumulating snows, as well as just days with snow showers when we get a negative NAO. It's exactly what you see in the Euro is predicting us to go with a strongly negative NAO, and so is the GFS. Really anything under -1 is a strong one, and you can see -2 and -3 at times being predicted in the modeling here. So very strong blocking pattern coming up. That's good if you want cold and snow. All right. Taking a look at temperatures, let's look at the GFS ensembles, the temperature spread over the next 16 days. Well, look at this. It predicted us to be at 34 today. That was about a degree shy. I think we made it up to 33. My forecasted high of 37 today just did not verify. The clouds hung around. We didn't see any sunshine, and it really just kept us down even more than the modeling showed. But take a look at this. I'll be honest with you, I think Monday and Tuesday this is bogus. I don't think we get anywhere close to 50. I think we're going to be in the mid 40s at best some next week from the way things look to me. It's going to be rainy and it's going to be cloudy. I'm not seeing it even with the southwest wind funneling in. But beyond this early active period where we start to get that push, notice what happens. Well, remember, the Arctic Oscillation is starting to tank again, folks. That's cold air on the move for Canada. Remember that the North Atlantic Oscillation is tanking again. That's going to be a blocking pattern. That means that cold air is going to be locked into place. That's exactly what you're seeing. So here we are down in the later periods, and you're talking high temperatures. Basically what we saw today, only in the low 30s, only instead of it being a fluke for a day or two, then that's what it consistently becomes. That's whenever we could get a big storm start to brew, because then all of a sudden there's no doubt about the cold air being available for an accumulating snow type of an event, all right? Because you get an Alberta Clipper dive down in off of Canada, and you start to get maybe just a little bit of a phasing in the southern jet stream, and they meet up together, the cold air is in place, boom, you can have a pretty decent system. Now, do I see a big system on the radar screen? I see indices which could lead to something, but I'm not pointing you to any specific dates just yet. What I'm telling you, folks, is I see something before Christmas Day, around Christmas Eve. I'm seeing something right after Christmas, and I'm seeing something right around New Year's. But I can't put an exact date on it, and I can't give you an exact amount of accumulation. Folks, this is an evolving pattern, and we'll just have to keep you up to date over the coming days. And really, these are going to be the type of systems, until it gets consistently cold, we're not going to be able to predict these things out in advance very much at all. But what we can say is the pattern is there for some decent snows. The pattern is there for a very cold type of a pattern setting up, which will lead to a very active pattern as well. And we'll leave it at that, folks. And just understand, when we take a look at 10-day forecast here, sponsored by the Smile Center, folks, if we can go to southernindianaweather.com, and you can get it on our mobile app, get it for Google Play or for the Apple iPhone, just search southernindianaweather.com, and you'll be able to get this same thing. And what we're going to see as we scroll through this, folks, you know what, that. Don't focus right now. I've got it based on the days that we see in the modeling, but a day from now it may change some things, so just understand that. Tonight, again, some isolated snow showers, but it's cloudy otherwise, mid-20s for your low, only up to the mid-30s for the highs tomorrow. The models are actually wanting to take us to the upper 30s and give us that, but I'm not buying it. I'm thinking mid-30s, probably based on how they were off today, mid-30s at best. It's not going to get very and it's not going to go very far. As you can see, 35 your high and 30 your low. Again, though, I've taken the snow chances out of the forecast. I think it stays down in southern Kentucky at best unless the models start to bring it more north. Maybe some filtered sunshine at times on Saturday, but that might be wishful thinking as well. But it gets a little bit warmer. Start to get to partly sunny days again by the time Sunday moves in, but low 40s are back. That'll be nice, but it comes with some rain for it on Monday. Sometime on Tuesday, that rain will start to change over to a rain-snow mix and then eventually to snow showers. I think it'll be all snow showers by Tuesday night, but it's a question as to how early in the day on Tuesday that changeover will start to occur. And again, it depends on which model you believe. But sometime on Tuesday, that temperature of high of 44, that may be reached pretty early in the day before we start to fall again. We'll have to kind of pinpoint that a little bit. But then again, look at the winds, folks. And for Christmas Eve here as well, they're going to be roaring 10 to 20 miles per hour out of the west. And that even could be conservative if the storm system gets as strong as it is predicted. Only a high in the mid-30s then on Christmas Eve, cloudy with some snow showers. I'm going to word it as minor accumulations possible at this point. Again, we don't know in a specific amount, but that's kind of the best that we can do at this point. Christmas Day looks just partly sunny and cold to me at this point. Maybe some snow showers possible on Christmas night, but otherwise than that, nothing too big. And then another chance of some rain or snow coming in with that system on Friday. But again, it's too far out to really pin down with any degree of accuracy. All I can say is it is looking cold once that system passes us. So that's sort of what we can expect over the next 10 days, folks. This forecast is going to change dozens of times by the time we get out to that end of the year pattern. So just keep it tuned right here to southernindianaweather.com, folks, and keep it tuned for plenty of updates throughout the weekend. All right, that is it for tonight's video, folks. You can subscribe to these videos on YouTube, by the way, if you're wanting to get these. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite for Southern Indiana Weather. Have a great night, folks. We'll see you next time.